On a typical Patriots Day morning in Lexington, the Common is filled with thousands of spectators waiting for a chance to see who fired the first shots in the American Revolution. But this year, things are a little different. With the coronavirus pandemic still within our midst, reenactors and town officials, like all of us, have had to adapt and reimagine what honoring this event looks like.
We dedicate this time to the men who fought and the men who fell. We want to be thankful and amazing to know that we live in this country because of men who stood up and rallied such as Captain Parker did. It really, truly is an amazing feat of what the men of Lexington did that morning.
Each year, hundreds of members of the Lexington community and beyond faithfully recreate the events as lived out by their ancestral counterparts in 1775. And this year is no exception. So please join us as we celebrate the 246th anniversary of the Battle of Lexington like never before. At about 1:30 in the morning on April 19, 1775, Lexington's alarm bell began to toll. A panic sets in, and most residents recognize that a military force of British regulars is marching towards Lexington. Anna Monroe, wife of Sergeant William Monroe, starts to bake bread for her husband.
I mixed my bread last night with tears coming, for I feared I should have no husband when the next mixing came.
At approximately 5 o'clock, Thaddeus Bowman, the second scout sent out earlier in the morning, returns.
Captain Parker, the regulars are out! Captain Parker!
He alerts Captain Parker that the regulars are less than a half hour away. In turn, John Parker orders the Lexington Company to assemble.
The regulars are coming down the road. There are thousands of them. I barely evaded capture. They're only a quarter mile away. They're already beyond the rocks.
Thaddeus, thank you. Take your horse around back and put him in the stable. Then meet us on the common.
Aye, Captain.
You there! Sound the alarm! Sergeant Monroe! Have Diamond sound to arms!
A body of regulars were marching from Boston towards Concord. We were alarmed, and having met at the place of our company's parade, were dismissed by our captain, John Parker, for the present, with orders to be ready to attend at the beat of the drum. We further testify and declare that about 5 o'clock in the morning, hearing our drum beat, we proceeded towards the parade.
Approximately a half hour before sunrise, the British column arrived at Lexington Common. Thomas Rice Willard, a non-combatant, watched the events unfold from a window in Daniel Harrington's house, located at the back of the Lexington Common.
On the 19th instant, in the morning, about a half hour before sunrise, I looked out at the window of said house and saw, as I suppose, about 400 regulars in one body.
Between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, the Battle of Lexington began. At some point the morning of April 19th, element of Captain Parker's company reassembled and marched toward the town of Lincoln to intercept the retreating British column, now commonly referred to as Parker's Revenge. Militia member Nathan Monroe explains that.
About the middle of the forenoon, Captain Parker, having collected part of his company, marched them towards Concord, I being with them. We met the regulars in the bounds of Lincoln about noon, retreating towards Boston. We fired on them and continued so to do until they met the reinforcement in Lexington.
In the late morning or early afternoon, residents of Lexington who remained behind bury their dead in a makeshift grave. Years later, Elizabeth Clark, daughter of the Reverend Jonas Clark, explains.
Father, mother with me, and the baby went to the meeting house. There was the 8 men that was killed, 7 of them my father's parishioners, 1 from Woburn, all in boxes made of 4 large boards nailed up. And after Pa had prayed, they were put into 2 horse carts and took into the graveyard where some of the neighbors had made a large trench, as near the woods as possible. And there we followed the bodies of those first slain, father, mother, I and the baby. There I stood, and there I saw them let down into the ground. It was a little rainy, but we waited to see them covered up with clods, and then, for fear the British should find them, my father thought some of the men had best cut some pine or oak boughs and spread them on their place of burial, so that it looked like a heap of brush.
Today, the modern Lexington Company gathers in that same graveyard to honor the sacrifice of those individuals, capping the morning activities with a final salute in tribute to the fallen.
God of Moses, God of Jesus, God who delivers your people in the wilderness and in warfare, from tyranny and injustice to liberty and peace. We praise and thank you for raising up valiant leaders in time of dire need, whose strength gave us courage, whose faith gives us hope of success, whose commitment to country and community calls us to fight for what is holy, right, and good. We thank you for Captain John Parker, true patriot, whose loyalty, conviction, and courage inspired farmers to become warriors, with the faith to stand their ground and defend their homes. Bless his memory in our midst by convicting each of us to be people who become peacemakers, who do justice and love kindness and set the captives free in our world, in our country, and our communities. Lord, thank you for your servant John and our captain and the legacy we carry in his name. Amen.
So with that, thus ends another Patriots' Day in Lexington. A little different, but it marks an important milestone and is a reminder of the perseverance of those who lived in Lexington nearly 250 years ago.